Okay, and oh yeah, there we are. We are live already. It happened really quick. Well, hey,
am I brushing my hair?
no, I haven't got much hair left to brush. So, wow, what a day! So, we've done the rehearsal about 4 times now. We've spent hours doing this all day and getting it right, and here we are. Now it's my turn to forget my lines.
So, I think I've already forgotten mine, and we did spend hours.
Well, welcome everybody who's come to join us tonight. To all the usual, I can see some of the great names who've made it. Paul Delavich, Harry Bass, John Paxton, everybody. There's a few here and a few watching, so thank you for joining us. Cool. We've got a little bit of feedback, I think, or is it me? So let's for anybody fresh who's joining us, we'll go through the introductions. So, ladies first.
Oh, fabulous! Hi, Jim. Lena Sisco. God, where do I start? Because I'm so used to not introducing myself anymore. Lena Sisco, former interrogator, Marine Corps interrogator and Navy intel officer, deployed to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and was an interrogator at Camp Delta after 9/11. Since that time, I have worked for every 3-letter agency imaginable, except for CIA. Worked with them or for them, was a contractor, worked with Jim Pyle. And we worked at the Phoenix Consulting Group for many years, training, interrogation, and elicitation, and tactical debriefing, and all that fun stuff. I used to work for the Marine Corps and train there. And anyway, I got tired of chasing around jobs and created my own company. So now I'm the CEO and founder of 2 companies, and I do a lot of online training. I am a keynote speaker. I published some books, and I gave a TED Talk, and that is me. Although I do hear feedback, so I don't know.
Let me try putting these wonderful earphones. It's Sony earphones that were.
Because I hear me coming through you.
Yeah, it's probably the mic picking up the speakers. One moment. Let's give this a shot. Let's see if that changes.
Hi, favorite people.
There we go. How's that? Is that any better?
Well, let me talk. I don't hear me.
Hey, how about that? I hear you, which is good. So, Matthew Sorensen's here as well, John Johnson, and of course Jim Pyle. I'm going to use this little opportunity to plug Jim Pyle's book, a shameless plug on behalf of Jim Pyle, because it is absolutely fantastic. My daughter has loved it. It's just come out, body language animated, and it's specifically aimed for children to learn body language. I really wish there had been a book like this around when I was a lot younger. It would have certainly given me a little bit of a head start. So, yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. It's out for pre-order now, and some people have even got their physical copies already. So,
wow.
Awesome. I was pretty lucky. My daughter was she got it before before it was released. So thank you, Jim. So okay,
like she must have a special connection.
I can't imagine who it is.
I can't imagine.
So yeah, and for those of you who don't know me, Gavin Stone, just spy, author, body language guy, into psychology, do the usual stuff. In fact, actually, no, I do anything that's not usual, really, don't I?
True.
So, do you know what? Since coming back from Copenhagen, I made several friends there, and I've still been in touch with a lot of them, and it's really, really great. And some of the people in Sweden as well. So we're going to have to compare notes and one day and do a live show on different tasks that we can set each other and see if we can get through them.
Okay.
And do you know what would be good?
Yeah.
Next week we'll introduce each other, as in you do my intro and I'll do yours.
I love that. However, I'm not around next week. I'm traveling back home. So I will be on an airplane. Actually, I think I will have been landed at the time we're doing this. But yeah, I won't be around next week.
Oh,
so we'll wait to the following, and then we can do that. But that's a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm. And I believe Robin's back next week, isn't he? Also, we'll probably be doing a Tradecraft Thursday next week then. So we'll be teaching you all the little tricks and hacks and little tactics that we use in the world of spies and spying. So that'll be fun. And then, brilliant. We'll have to do that. So tonight we are talking about detection and protection from scams, fraud, online scams, all that kind of thing. I know Lena's got some fantastic examples coming up. Some of the worst, some of the best. One of the worst ever scams, I got sent a link saying Justin Bieber music, and when I clicked on it, it was Justin Bieber music. Couldn't believe it. It was awful. Oh,
I'm
really?
like,
It
what?
was torturous.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
love it.
Auto played and everything. Absolutely dreadful. So yeah, I will let you kick off with a little story that I know you've been itching to share. So here
Oh
we
God,
go.
there's so many stories. But I think and obviously, guys, we did not practice or rehearse at all. You know, we wing every conversation that we have. And we just kind of see where it goes. But I did tell Gav as I was in the gym today, I was like, oh, I want to start off talking about the texting scam and how now it's become this new way of marketing, which I have no idea how this works because it only pisses me off. And I can imagine it's going to pisses everybody else off. And I even had to write a post on LinkedIn about it. And before I get into it, I will warn everybody, I'm probably going to be a little colorful tonight because this topic really hits my buttons and irks me so bad. But anyway, let me start off with a texting scam. And I'm pretty certain that you all have experiences when you get a text and it says, hey, and you know, the number's not in your contacts, or it says, hi, or hey, how are you? How have you been? Right. And you're thinking, oh God, do I know this person? Did I forget to write their number down? Was it the person I networked with? Did I meet them in a bar? Blah, 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 right. And we start blaming ourselves for not knowing who this person is. Yet all the time, this person is most likely 99.9% of the time out to deceive you and manipulate you and sell you something and scam you. And yet all of a sudden, I know I do this. I'm like, oh, I start feeling bad because I don't know who the person is, right? So that's the lure. But here's the thing, always go by the gut check, right? We have to do the gut check. If they're not in your contacts and they don't say anything else but, hey, delete. Because here's the deal. If it's the guy or the girl that you met last week at the bar and you really want to talk to them, they will reply again and say more. They will say, hey, I met you this where, somewhere, whatever. Hey, remember me? This is put in a name. Okay. They're going to give a context. They are not just going to say, hey. All right. So when these texts come in from everybody, delete. Now, unless you want to have a little fun. So I did. And I'll just read you my texting.
Go for it.
Mine actually gave a name. Hey, it's Zoe. Now, here's the odd thing. I know a Zoe. And maybe the scammer was thinking, somebody's got to know a Zoe, right? Or Zoe's such a unique name. This person definitely won't know a Zoe and going to reply back like, I don't know who a Zoe is. You know, who are you? Whatever, whatever, and get into the conversation. Well, I happen to know a Zoe. And I thought, is it Zoe that I haven't heard from in years? But why on earth would she be contacting me? So I was like, okay, right. Exactly, Paul. So I said, all right, I'm ready to play because sometimes I just want to play. And so I said, how are you? It's been a while. Now, a couple minutes goes by, like a long set of minutes. I'm like, this is not Zoe. Okay. And this is what I get. And I love this because it reminds me of Jerry Sandusky when he was being interviewed and the whole, I don't remember. I misremembered, right? There's no such thing. That's not a word. Okay. So misremembered, it's not a word. I get, sorry, I misremembered the number. Really? Because I think you're pretty good on the number. You got the number. I thought it was Lisa's number and sent you a picture of me. I hope I'm not disturbing you. So I'm like, oh, it's time to have fun now. So I said, well, this is Lisa. How are you, Zoe? And then I get nothing. And then I come back again. Oh, I'm sorry. I misremember, right? The same thing. I misremembered the number. Who am I talking to? And I was like, listen, this is Lisa. Are you still working for the FBI? Because I am. No. Right? I just had to have a little fun. But here's the deal. Texting, anything. And of course, we're not going to get deep in tonight to cybersecurity with the phishing emails and all that and looking at the URL and making sure it's saved. Oh, don't open an attachment. Hello, we get it. But the thing is that this texting stuff really comes into this new marketing ploy, and it really drives me nuts. And I know this because I have to market my stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own company, so my stuff's not going to sell itself. So I market, right? And I hire people to market for me. But when it gets scammy like this, who on earth are you going to get to actually say, oh, I want to buy something from you? Oh, I want a relationship with you. Oh, I want to hire you. Are you kidding me? You just deceived me. So this is just no good. If you get that text and it's just a hey or a hi, automatically swipe it, delete it, get rid of it.
I've got to ask at this point on that note, if anybody can put in the comments right now, have you ever in your life texted anybody with just hey or hi? You know, I mean, whether it's somebody you know or somebody you don't, whether, you know, or I mean, if that, and obviously that goes without, like, kind of, you know, sometimes you might have sent somebody a message and they haven't responded and they've read it and you might say, hey, I'm on about an introductory starting off a conversation. Have you ever started with hey or hi and nothing else? And looking, we got, oh, no, never, no, yeah, because they don't, because nobody does. Nobody does. You know, you might be like, hey, it's Gavin. Remember that really good looking guy you met in the bar? That's me. Or you might, you know, you might put something to say who you are or whatever the case may be. But you're not just going to put hey or hi, you know. So if that's the case, yeah.
It all comes back to, does it make sense? No. Good. Then it doesn't make sense. It's not. It's not good. It's not legitimate. But this brings me over to something we like to call OSINT, because I use OSINT to market and to network, right? And so it's just a really good discussion, because right now I am seeking out to write for Forbes and other magazines. And so I have to bump, which we teach in elicitation and sector intelligence. I have to bump the editors. They don't know me. I have to introduce myself, and I have to first, before that, find out their email. And so we use technology online, and I find out all this stuff about them. I go to social media, I find out what they like, how long they've been working. I tag a little bit of that. I do my research to build rapport, to write how they expect me to write, and to write enough that they're going to have an interest in what I have to say. It is awesome, right? I find out everything I possibly can to make my first cold email, I'll call it a cold email, important enough that they stop and they read it. And then they like, oh, this is interesting, right? So OSINT for good, OSINT for networking and increasing those relationships. And those relationships can go whatever. But here's the other scarier thing, way more scarier than this texting scam, is that people do not even have to know the word OSINT, but they do know TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook. And all they have to do, and Google, all they have to do is Google your name and search the web and find out as much information as they can, and then send you an email, because your email is pretty easy to find, I bet, or your phone number, and start using the stuff they find to trap you in. And I'm going to share another thing that happened to me this week, which I think this is what I really wrote. I didn't write about the texting one on LinkedIn. I wrote about this email. So
I'm going to share this really quickly first, though, before you do, because I think this just has to be addressed.
Spend less.
Couldn't help it. Thank you very much, Debbie.
Love it. Yeah. So if you guys Google me at some point, when you dig deep down and read the bylines or follow my Instagram, see my pictures, that you really are searching to find out more about me other than what's always out there and who I am, right? And so one of those things that you're going to discover is I like wine, I like sailing, and I'm an animal advocate. So this, either it was AI or a person did their homework, found out about me, found out I was an animal advocate. And the subject line of that email was, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was something about, hey, are you passionate about animals? We are too. And then everything looked legit. And do my little cybersecurity run through. The email address was fine. I didn't open any attachments. And when I opened it, guess what they were doing? Trying to sell me ClickFunnels. And so I just of course, being me, I had to write them back and say, Jenny, don't you ever spam my inbox again. But this is what they do. Oh, John doesn't know what OSINT is. OSINT is a term, John, that stands for open source intelligence. So we have human intelligence, MASINT, measures and signals intelligence, SIGINT, signals intelligence, and then OSINT is open source intelligence.
I was actually going to put that up, but I didn't know whether he was asking for himself or for other people, because I think he knows that. But thank you, John. Yes, OSINT, open source intelligence, and of course, human intelligence. But the most reliable is what we call RUMINT, which is rumor intelligence.
Yes. We got a lot of rumors going on. Yes. IMINT. Oh, there's so many ints.
Oh, yeah. Good cousin.
Yeah. So anyway, so just be aware, because you guys, I know all of you, you're out there on the World Wide Web. People can find out information about you. Use that to get into your world. And they're going to contact you through your phone number, through your email, or a DM or a PM or whatever you want to call it. And they're going to use things they know will hook you right into the conversation, right? They're baiting you to take the bait, essentially, because they have used words that are going to ping on your radar to go, oh, that's what I like. Oh, they know something about me. And so it's always, make sure you do your due diligence and vet these people. I've talked enough, Gav.
No, I was going to mention that there are also some groups that are more susceptible than others, and I'm assuming a lot of people have heard this new thing that's going around where you get a text message off a relative, and it might say something like, "Hey, Mom, stuck and need the train fare home. Can you transfer $20 to my account, please?" And they send a bank account and details and whatever. So sometimes it'll even go as far as, "Hey, Mom, battery's flat on my phone, had to use this different number, stuck in such and such a place, need money to get home." And of course, people, especially if they're used to doing this for their children, and I'm not going to go into too many stories here, but there are a few of them, they will transfer money into that account without giving it a second thought, thinking, "Oh, my son's stuck or my daughter's stuck," or, and so they will automatically go for it. So just be careful. If nothing marries up, if if it's coming off a strange number and they've said, "Hi, Mom," or "Hi, Dad," or whatever the case may be, have a look. If they haven't signed it with a name, cross-reference their bank details. If you've sent them stuff before, check it against the bank details that they've sent you and the bank details you've used in history. Because this, like I said, there are more certain people, and they will throw thousands of these out per hour, and they will get lucky out of probably 10 of them maybe. But if this continues hour after hour after hour, it's a lot of money that they keep bringing in.
Which I would love to segue into romance fraud. I did an article on that on LinkedIn as well. And those of you, even if you're in a committed relationship, it's still very good to hear and know, because you can help your friends and your family avoid this. And especially now with online dating, and I got nothing against online dating. Some of my best friends have been married off of online dating, but you have to be so careful. And of course, going through the journey that my brother has gone through online dating. Oh my gosh. I just felt, and attending a big conference that I was a keynote speaker for 2 weeks ago. It was the Mid-Atlantic Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, huge conference, met awesome people, and all this stuff coming up in my life. I'm like, I got to write about this. And we just have to start having conversations about this, because we need people to trust their gut more. And especially when it comes to online dating and these romance scams, romance fraud, they're going after your heartstrings. And we know that as humans, we make decisions mostly based on emotion and not rational decisions, right? So we're emotionally based. We'll tend to go limbic. And now you put it in this dating arena, and you have that's it. It's emotions are involved. Right? I need a partner. I want a connection. I want to feel loved. I want to give love. I want to be loved. I want to feel close to someone. I want to share my things in life. That's emotional stuff. And so I think we're a little bit more vulnerable in that area when it comes to trusting our gut and believing people or not believing people. And so this one lady from AARP got up and she gave her speech, and she went through this presentation, and my mouth was open through the entire thing. I was so interested in this presentation. And it was an older lady, widowed. She lost her husband. So she was, looking for just a partner, someone to share stuff in life. And she met this doctor, rich. Of course, they're always filthy rich, but they never have any money, right? And they're always asking for money. So rich doctor, overseas, doing humanitarian work, whatever. And I think at this point in time, it was with one of the wars, blah, 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 right? And he sucked her in to this vortex. And a lot of times, and she, was the victim of a horrible crime. And her kind of, her speech or her presentation really focused about, hey, don't blame these people. You can't blame people for being victims of these horrible crimes because it's not their fault. The fault is you have a horrible person manipulating people. That's the problem, right? And so what we need to do is we need to support these people who have been victims and we need to help them through it. And so that aside, some of the warning stuff to pay attention to. Yes, lottery scams too. Yeah. And so I even had one of my friends was on a dating site, and she would run guys past me. Hey, what do you think? Are they legit? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, and my brother used to do the same thing. And I'm looking at profiles and this, that, doing statement analysis. I'm like, nope, wrong, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that photograph is Photoshop. Probably not going to look like them when you meet them, Chris. This one's lying about that. Anyway, so my girlfriend came to me and she showed me a picture of a really good looking guy. And I was like, okay, he's good looking. And he works on an oil platform. I'm like, oh, here we go. The famous platform scam. And she said, what? And I was like, what did he tell you? Oh, he works on an oil platform and he dropped his cell phone in the water. And so he wants to use this phone, but he doesn't have money to buy that phone. And he was asking me if he can send me a phone. I'm like, stop. Do you seriously think you are talking to that beautiful guy working on an oil platform right now? Please tell me no. Because you're not. Let me just tell you. And so she had no idea, though. No idea. And as we went through, I said, this is what you need to write him. You need to clarify information. And that sometimes is where we miss the boat. But if we would only ask pertinent questions to these people, whoever they are, we're going to know immediately that they're scamming us. We have to go after the information. You have to confront them. You don't have to be mean or rude, just a good question. And so I said, we need to ask him a series of specific questions. Things that if he truly was this dude working on an oil platform, he could answer very easily. And it was deflect, vague, deflect, reroute, vague, and I was like, okay, do you see this pattern? This is not a human being. This person does not exist. They're scamming you. And oh, by the way, what do you notice in all of these messages? He's asking for what? Money, 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 money. Going back to the lady in the AARP presentation, she got scammed out of like $30,000 because apparently this doctor, it finally came, introduced her to his kids. He had 2 teenagers back in the States, had Facebook accounts for these teenagers. She was sending money to them, helping them. He, about after 9 months, comes back. And it just so happens when he comes into the United States, he gets arrested for, I don't know, drugs or whatever. And then the lawyer's with him in a prison. She asks to go see him in a prison. She's all dressed up. She's got her outfit ready to finally meet him in person. They're going to live out their lives together happy. And then some lawyer says, yeah, I'm the only one that can see him, but he needs $20,000 in bail. And if you wire, so she said, I'll bring it to you. But I want to see him, and then finally, her gut feeling was like, oh shit, I've been had, but the months of thinking that this guy was there for her, that someone had an interest in her, that she was even going to have a family again because his 2 kids, and all of that down the toilet on top of being scammed out of $30,000. Like, wow. And, a lot, and this woman said, a lot of people get mad and say, how would you not know? How could you not be smart enough? But let me tell you, sometimes we want something so bad that we don't see what's right in front of our face.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important to know what to look for to help our friends out. I'll help my friends and family out any day. If you feel, especially in the online dating world, if you feel like, oh, I don't know, just send it to me. Send everything to me. I will look at the profile. I will look at the words that they used in their messages and let you know whether or not I believe it's a scam. And I will even tell you what to ask them to verify this, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say the same
Get
thing.
them on video.
Yep. Yeah, Brian said that several times, get them on video right away, which is okay. I mean, obviously, if they're in a prison environment, then that can be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, get them on video every single time. You know, within, and if they keep avoiding it, then you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna address that dating scam thing, which again is something that, like you say, that they're preying on people's emotional desires, which are extremely powerful, and it's such a shame for people who do end up getting taken in by it, because, like you say, it's not just the money that's gone; it's their dreams, it's their life, it's their hopes that have been really shattered, and it can have a long lasting effect, and it also makes them very dubious for when somebody genuine does come along. So it really is, you know, it's something that I'm deadly against. And then there is another group. There was a scam here in the UK a while ago. I took a lot of people, and it was a huge scam. It was a long con, but dear me, the people that ended up falling for it. So it was all to do with the job application, and it was like dream job, you know, like dream salary, dream location, travel, expenses paid for. I mean, you know, whatever you want in a job, add some more, and this was it.
Wow.
Right. And I think a lot of the time it was pretty much tailor made per person. I don't know. I'm guessing on that. That's just speculation. But they got this dream job, and they take the person through several stages. And they just go, look, to start with, it's an online interview. It's not done over a video phone. It's literally just, we will ask you a bunch of questions, you answer them, and kind of type in your answers, and we'll let you know whether you've got to the next stage. And constantly they're, you know, kind of dangling the carrot and bringing this person along, and, you know, and kind of, you know, with that first bit where they write the answers in, they give them 2 or 3 days of you know, kind of, what do you think, how, you know, and anticipation. Then eventually they get the email saying, congratulations, you're through to phase 2. You know, out of 500 people, we're down to 30, and you're one of the 30, and it's building this emotional buzz, and people are like, wow, I might get this, and then there's all the, you know, so you go through each and every stage, and all the time you've got all the emotional, you've got the anticipation, the waiting, the excitement, the dopamine rush when you're told you're through to the next bit, and then towards the end they start with all the informational emails. They're like, look, we need a headshot of you because you're going to go on our website. We need this, we need that. We want to know which location would you prefer, New York, Paris, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and we will pay for your moving expenses there. We need to know how many kids you've got, if you've got any pets, what kind of, all these kind of things, right? And people are going, oh, I've got this, I've got how much stuff you're going to need relocating, blah, blah, blah. And there's so much that they're getting, not just information out of them, but they're getting the person's hopes up, because now it's real, you know, and they're on about, like, kind of, you know, we're going to need your bank details for your wages, your signing on bonus, blah, blah, blah. This person's getting really, really excited. And then the last phase is when they turn around and say, right, we need you to do something. We contract out our uniform sales to another company. It's nothing to do with us. But what happens is, you know, it saves money and saves us time because we got so many employees, blah, blah, blah. We can't do it in-house. Go to this company and you need to order uniforms. It is expensive, but we will reimburse you everything with your first paycheck. Right. Wow. And then they get sent this link that they go and they've got to order so many polo shirts, so many trousers, so many caps, that, you know, and it comes to about £1,000 worth of uniform. And some people are like, I just can't do it. But the majority of them scrape the money together one way or another because they think they've got this big signing on bonus coming, like 20 grand signing on bonus and all the other bits and pieces, this dream job and blah, blah, blah. And they all spend about £1,000 on a uniform that they're never going to get for a job that they're never going to be employed in. And out of that £1,000, you know, they get about 1,000 people that send it. They've got £1 million sent over to them, and then all of a sudden the plug is pulled and it's gone. And it's such a shame, because sometimes people, you know, they'll end up quitting their jobs or not taking other jobs, or thinking they've got this. They're given start dates and contracts and all sorts of things, and really believe, and they think their dreams have come true, and then bang, after like kind of couple of months of this game, which it effectively is, they all really let down. So,
I've been looking at the comments of Danny Boy Spain, John Johnson, John Paxton, and yeah, if you get an email from PayPal1.com, it ain't PayPal.
no.
It's not PayPal. Pay attention to where the sender's email is coming from, and if it's PayPal, it ain't going to be a bunch of letters and numbers and all this other stuff.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's and here's the thing: delete it, because if it truly is PayPal, they'll find a way to contact you. Just delete that stuff, and the misspellings. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and of course there are so many different ways that people have been taken in with everything from bank emails or so-called bank emails and that kind of thing. And I know how easily it can be done, just to replace a 0 with an O, or the other way around. I had to do it myself. I drove Eric crazy on Locals not so long back, where the username Stone was gone. So I put ST0NE, and he kept trying to search for me. He couldn't find me, and he was trying to share. Anyway, it was a nightmare. But it goes to show how easy, and this is Eric, who's like, you know, IT genius kind of thing. And so it just goes to show how easily it can be missed. You know, and if you get a you know, an email, for example, off Wells Fargo, you know, you replace that O with a 0, and it all looks legitimate. And again, you know, you're sending money somewhere it shouldn't be going. So be really careful. The typo squatting, Paul's just said.
And before I because you know me, I always love to wrap up stuff. So for those of you getting texts, right, and especially on the online dating, I want you to pay attention to 4 things. Number 1, okay, they fall too fast, too hard. I'm sorry, but if people don't meet you face to face, they cannot love you. All right?
No.
Fall in love with you. So that's number 1. And especially if they're going to all of a sudden have all these things that just happen to be in common. They like everything you like. Probably not. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3, they're going to start asking you for money. They've never met you, but they're going to ask you for money. All right. So falls too hard, too fast. Gonna start asking you for money. Is going to find everything that they possibly can to have common ground. And finally, number 4, they will not answer your questions. This is coming from a former interrogator. I know this stuff. If you ask a good interrogative question, you should get a narrative statement back with a chunk of information. If you do not, they are clearly avoiding the question. So that's what you have. Now, if you ask, I'm going to give you an interrogator tip here. If you ask a vague question, you will get a vague answer, and it won't be the answer you need or want. So ask a specific question. So if I wanted to find out where Gavin was from, I wouldn't say, Gav, where are you from? Because Gavin's going to say,
over here. England.
And I'm like, oh, that's not really what I wanted to know. Gav, what's the name of the town that you're from in England?
So there we go. And then
that's what I want to know, right? Make it specific. What's the name of the company you work for, right? What is the address of the company you work for? If you want to find out information, just ask for what you want, but make sure it's a specific question to get you specific information. And that's going to help you vet the legitimacy of that person.
Funnily enough, I don't know the address of the company I work for. So I was going to mention something. What was I going to say? There is a little something that you can do if you want to play with these people to test them. And that is, if they turn around, and I've seen this kind of thing done before. I think it was mentioned in one of the comments earlier. It might have been Brian. They'll turn around and say, I want to come and visit you. Send me the money so I can buy the plane tickets to come and see you. Right? So what you do is you go, I tell you what, I'll buy the plane tickets for you. Then watch what they do, because they don't want plane tickets. because they're not coming to see you.
Yeah.
They want the money. So these are things you can do. So if they start asking for money for a particular thing, like, oh, I've lost my dad's Rolex watch. He's going to kill me. I need a replacement, and it's 15 grand. Can you send it to me? You turn around and say, sure, no problem. And when they go, really, really, you say, yeah. In fact, I can do better than that. I'll buy the Rolex watch when you come and see me. And then watch what happens. Yeah. They'll be like, oh, no, send it to me. Send it. No. I really want to see you, and I know you want to see me. So coming up, we'll go and pick it together.
Yeah, we'll go pick it together. Oh, my gosh. It's holding people accountable. Yeah. And that's what we have to do for ourselves to keep ourselves safe. You have to hold people accountable. Find out what they're up to. And that only starts, by being a little clever, but asking some good questions too.
Yeah, I like that more than tickets. So, and of course, this is only something that you're going to do to play with people. I'm not suggesting you start going out and buying 15 grand Rolex watches for people because they've asked you to. I'm just saying if you have a feeling that this is a scam and they just want the money, test the waters with something like that. Or even if you've confirmed it and you just want to have a little bit of fun and wind them up. So I love having fun. I do. I know that Scott Rouse is a nightmare for doing the exact same kind of things as what I do when we get these people get in touch with us. I love winding them up. And Brian mentioned it earlier, and I know you touched on it as well. But I'll start conversations with them, and and they'll say, "What are you doing? And where are you living? And blah blah blah." And I'll go through all the motions, and then say, "So what are you doing now?" So I'm about to go into the office. I'm working with the fraud department for the FBI with online scams, and these guys are great. I've come all the way from England to learn how they do it, and I'll wait until I tell them about you. And of course, all of a sudden the account is deleted. So
I love one time the IRS called me, and of course they had a very funky accent. And when they were telling me that my assets are going to be seized, and I was going to be arrested and all sorts of stuff. Now, my dad's a CPA, little did they know. So I'm sitting, I'm listening to this, I'm listening to it. And what pissed them off was I didn't get emotional. I listened and, ma'am, are you still there? Yeah, I'm listening. We're going to do this. I'm like, and I just stayed quiet and listened. And I said, I have a question for you. What's a CPA? And he said, what? And I was like, exactly. Click. I was like, come on. I'm like, seriously? And oh God, it was just, if it sounds fishy, it's fishy.
Yeah.
Right. It is. And so think of a clever question, because what that guy should have said is, why are you asking me what a certified public accountant is? Because that's what my dad is, and that's who does my taxes. Pretty certain the IRS ain't coming after me. By the way, the IRS will never call you anyway. But
and of course, you can always turn around and say, yeah, funnily enough, I'm at work now. I work at the IRS. I'm on the 3rd floor. Which floor are you on? I'll come down and see you. We'll sort this out. Watch how quickly they hang up.
I asked for his ID number.
Really?
What did I ask for? I can't remember, but it was very funny. I was in the car. And I was living in DC at the time. So I was on 95 DC traffic. And I'm like, oh, I got an hour to kill. Why not? Let's play along. The end result was the CPA thing. But I had fun.
Yeah. And then if you really want to wind them up towards the end, if you do what Lena's done, which is brilliant, don't get emotional, don't get shouting at them, don't engage. Every time I say you're listening, say I'm listening. And when they get to their punchline, just turn around and say, look, it's only going to take me about another 20 or 30 seconds if you can stay on the line. We're tracking the call at the moment. We will have officers on the way to you shortly, and watch them. So you can really enjoy yourself. And the thing is, they are getting smarter and smarter. You can see through some of the obvious ones which come along from time to time, like saying, this is the IRS, we owe you money, and we need you to pay us now in Walmart gift cards. Then you can see through, but they are getting cleverer to the point where somebody I know not so long back received a replacement bank card.
Wow.
it was an exact replica, not with different numbers and whatever else. And it says, here's your new card, cut up the old one, call us and we'll activate it. And, and when he looked at the letter was just really, really brilliant quality. The card was brilliant quality, it had all the chip in it, everything was as it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, he'd have rang up, he'd have ended up giving so much information out over the phone. And all that card was a useless piece of plastic.
Oh my gosh. And the other thing to be very scary of is AI, right? And in that Chad GPT or whatever, because people can punch in the exact, what they need to say to sound legitimate and put that in an email or put it in a text. And all of a sudden you're saying, well, they're speaking the lingo. They sound educated. They know all about whatever it is.
Yeah.
You probably should trust them. And that is very scary, very scary. But here's the thing. Here's how you can overcome it. You ask a good question back. So even in a text or a phone call or an email, if they have used the Chat GPT, they can't use it for a question you ask them. Now, if it's an email, they have time to run it through. But ask them the best question you can think of that Chat GPT is not going to be able to spit out for them. And then you'll catch them that way.
Yeah.
So it all comes with being clever and knowing what to ask.
Also, is it me or is that Chat GPT just the most awkward bloody acronym that they could ever possibly put together? I keep calling it like Chat PG Tips and Chat, all sorts of things.
I call it Chad. Most of the time I call it Chad. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was talking to Matthew about it the other night. And we agreed that it needs a better initialism for definite.
They all do have an Indian accent. My IRS, both of them. Not only the guy who called me, but his manager had an Indian accent. Yes.
Yeah. So, and again, I will just let everybody know, and I know these sometimes seems like obvious things, but I do know people have been victim to it. I've known people I know that are picking up the phone and what they'll do, and I've seen it done so many times, you'll get this call and say, hi, we're calling from your bank, just to get you through security, can you answer the following questions? And they'll start saying, what's your name, what's your address, what's your zip code, what's your number, what's your date of birth and everything else. And I've seen people giving this information out and I've had to grab the phone off them and say, hey, what are you doing? They say, don't do that, that's my bank. I'm like, look, if it's your bank, you can ring them back,
Right.
But all I heard was you say, hello, yes, my name is, my address is, my date of birth is, and I'm going, you don't know, just because it's on the end of the phone and just because it comes up on the screen saying that, it's a particular entity doesn't mean it is. It's so easy to spoof a number right now. I could call you now, Lena, on your cell phone and make it look like I was calling from the White House. Dang. It's not difficult.
And the thing is, you just ask yourself, has this ever happened to me before? No. Then why is it happening right now?
Yeah.
Right?
So,
you got to be your own detective in this stuff
Yeah.
and really go with your gut. If it doesn't seem right, it's not right. And so investigate it all the
That's
time.
it.
All the time.
So, and instead of giving information to them, get information from them, right?
Perfect.
Just because they ring up and say, I'm calling from your bank. You go, okay, which bank? Which branch am I with? Ask some questions. Why are you calling? And if they can't answer some of the basic questions, and you say, well, look, you tell me what my name is or what the last 4 digits of my account number is. And if they don't know, you say, well, why don't you know? You're my bank. You're calling me about my account. You should know these things. Jim Pyle, what's Jim said? Let's get it up there. I listened to the ticket agent for that, where he was. Talking to San Francisco, for the local temperature said about 20. Love it. And it is really, really great that at the minute we've got the clue of that Indian accent when people start ringing up. That should be your first red flag. But elicitation wise, maybe they've been watching a few too many of ours and Jim's videos, and they're getting the hang of it because, like I said, they are getting good.
And they have AI to help them out to figure out what to say, but you can always catch them off guard. This is what we teach in interrogation classes. I teach this in all my online courses and wherever I'm going, my law enforcement courses. Ask an unanticipated question. And I know, Jim Pyle, you're out there going, doing jumping jacks and, you know, cheering because he knows this. If you ask an unanticipated, you get an uncanned response, right? So meaning it's not canned, it's not premeditated, it's not thought about. So you get an unscripted response, and that means they have to think on their feet right then and there. And if they're going to lie to you, that's really hard to do. And then the cortisol is going to go up, and all that stress will happen. But if you can ask an unanticipated question, you're going to make that person go, oh, shoot, I didn't prepare for that. Because a liar is only as good as they prepare for your question and rehearse that lie. So when it's unanticipated and you catch them off guard, they have to do what I call lying on the fly. And lying on the fly is very, very difficult.
Oh yeah, make it extremely hard for them. So, what was I going to mention now? Because that thing about getting information from them, I keep, sometimes it's really, really difficult. Oh, that was it. It was a friend of mine. Again, he was really, really good at this kind of thing. He'd have the usual calls come through, and he'd say, "Where are you calling from?" They say, "We're in London." He'd go, "Oh, I'm in London. What part of London are you in?" And I go, "Oh, I'm on Regent Street." "Oh, I'm on Regent Street. Whereabouts are you?" And they go, and he wouldn't be, but they go, I'm at number 100. 100, really? I'm at 101. Come outside. I'll come outside in the street and meet you. And it was brilliant. So
that's like the weather question that hey Bob, Bob and Jim said, if someone says they're in a particular place in the world, ask them what the time is and what the weather is.
Yeah. And I mean, these things can be Googled. But at the same time, try and pick something that you know well. And of course, if somebody does happen to say they're in an area that you know well, like I said, my friend, he used to know London very, very well. So it was great for him to be able to turn around and say, right, what can you see? Look out the window, tell me what you can see.
Yes.
And I had a cracker. I did when I first moved to Miami, and I got my cell phone set up, and I rented a car for the first few weeks that I was there. And I took the rental car back after I bought a Lincoln Continental, and I bought the Lincoln Continental up, and I had a phone call, and it was, "We're calling you about your car accident." And that was brilliant. And they're obviously just going for the first kind of, and they knew my name. They knew my name. They knew my number. So, but that was as much information as they got.
That's crazy.
Oh, looks like Brian's off. Bye, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Bye. What time is it? 7:18. We've been like talking on and on. What?
We're up to 46 minutes now, aren't we? We're coming up to the end of the hour. So as Lena said, we will help you out if you are stuck, whether it's dating apps, but no matter what it is, by all means, get in touch with us. If you are unsure, either of us, we will look at it for you, and we will be able to tell you, usually try asking this, or I think that's a scam because of this, or like I say, some things like some of these Facebook profiles, these catfish profiles, you can tell. Cover photo of a daisy, one profile picture of a gorgeous model, male or female, no posts, born 1986, something like that, and it's 3 days old, and it's only had one of each picture. And then all of a sudden they're in love. No. So, but some of them are a little bit more in depth, and so you do have to be really, really careful. There's loads of things we can help you out with, from reverse image searches and all sorts of things that we can give you advice with. So if you're stuck, give us a shout. We will help you.
And if you're not in the Facebook group TCG Tribe, look it up, join, because you can put a post there and we'll all chime in and give you some advice.
Gav, I've seen you drive, mate. Danny, it's called offensive driving. It's tactical driving, you see. Very offensive to the people around me, and I have the fingers to match. It's Have you heard the joke about the army mechanic who said, "I couldn't fix your brakes, so I made your horn louder"?
No.
That's about sums up the military mechanics, doesn't it? Really.
Oh, my
Brilliant. Right then, we are coming up to the hour. Is there any questions before we go? And Lena, please tell us a little bit more about SciCon for those who haven't heard about it.
Yeah, definitely, guys. We're looking at the comments, so let us know if you have a question. But SciCon, I have the congruency group, but I started another company a few years ago, Sector Intelligence. Gav works for it. We have a bunch of people, Scott, Jasper, Josephine, Ellie, Elizabeth, tons of people. And our primary mission is to teach elicitation. And we also use OSINT to help companies and individuals meet people, get in front of people that the gatekeeper won't allow you to, connect to them and have a good relationship. And a lot of times this is wanting to gain new clients, right? I want to meet so-and-so. I think there'd be a great client for me or a great stakeholder. How can I really make sure that relationship and that conversation is awesome the first time I meet them? So we give you a great opportunity to meet them and then also perfect that conversation when you have it. But anyway, in September 14 and 15, following the GSX conference that's also happening in Dallas, Texas, we are hosting a pretty epic 2-day event, and it's going to be fun. I can't believe how it's all come together. It's at the Adolphus Hotel. We have a room block. So if you want to join and you buy a ticket, then we give you a code and you'll get all that if you want a ticket. Right now, you can go to the website, which is on Sector Intelligence. So it's sectorintel.com. And we will put a link up, or Gav can put a link up. And if you look on the top bar, it says SciCon 5i. You can find out all about the conference, but we have some pretty amazing people coming. Yours will be there. And then we have Janine Driver is our celebrity keynote. We also have Jack Barsky coming. He's a former KGB spy that was caught here in the United States. He's coming to talk. We have our own Robin Dreek coming to talk. We have Matthew Dunn, famous author and former MI6, coming to talk. And so it's an event of Jim Pyle is going to be there teaching. So it's an event of education, but it's also entertainment because I have a former CIA agent who's hosting a spy game the first day in the afternoon. We have a Martini 007 Martini meet and greet happy hour. We have fun swag that we give out. So it's a great place to meet people, have some good conversations, network, but also get a lot of good intel and a lot of good training. So again, it's an experience. It's going to be fun. You're going to be entertained. You're going to be in a game, and you're going to learn a lot of cool stuff and meet some really cool people. We have author signing tables, and it's at a gorgeous hotel. So SciCon 5i.
Yeah. I was trying to think of something really, really funny. Of like, there hasn't been this many spies from different agencies in one place since, and I'm having a mind blank. I'm going to have to think of a great punchline for that.
I know.
But yeah, we literally FBI, CIA, MI6, you name it. Yeah, we're all going to be there. Or DOD. There's going to be so many of us, and we're all going to be giving talks, information. I'll be there myself. I'll be revealing some of the tricks and information that I've never revealed before publicly, which is going to be there's going to be some good shocking stuff for people. We've got all sorts going on, and anybody who comes to this is the first annual one will be given grandfather rights or granddad rights or whatever they call it to lock in future discounts and that kind of thing. This is a wonderful, amazing opportunity. So while you've got the chance, since Austin Powers, thank you, Jim. That is absolutely perfect. So please come along to that. I know. I know.
We'll have security there.
We've just become a target. Also, I have here in the UK, I've got an anti-bullying class coming up soon, which is really, really great. Contact me for more details in that if you want to get involved. I've also got a 1-day spy skills tradecraft workshop coming up, where it's an intensive 1-day course for learning so much in the way of spy tradecraft. It's just amazing. Everything from escape and evasion, lock picking, bypassing cameras and alarms, getting into safes, you name it. How intelligence is gathered by the world's best intelligence agencies. There's so much there. I will put the link in the description below this video, probably tomorrow now, because it is getting a bit late and we are 7 minutes away from the hour. So we will have that, and I hope to. We don't know what we're doing next week. Oh yeah, we'll probably do Tradecraft Thursdays if it's just me and Robin. So hopefully Robin will be back. If not, I will make something up.
And also, my third Honest Answers Masterclass is in session. It's cohort number 3. So if you're interested, you can always go to, here on our Facebook. I think I'm posting it on Facebook. Go to the Congruency Group website. You'll see it. But it accumulates July 2nd. So if you want to get in, do it before July, because that wraps up with our 4-hour webinar. It's one-on-one mentoring and training, and it's really cool. The first one was really fun. Second one, a great conversation. So this is cohort 3.
Hey, if you haven't already, please click like on the video. It really helps. And if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do it and share it amongst your friends that you think would find this interesting. And thank you very much for joining us, Paul. Yes, you really, really do. I promise you, it'll be one of the best things you've ever done.
I make you work though, Paul, and I'll role play with you, and I will make you have conversations with me and test you. So
yeah, and
beware.
I cannot put a price on the value of that information. Believe me. So, Ryan, thank you once again, and we will see you probably next week on TCG Tribe. If not, I might be here with Robin doing a Tradecraft Thursdays. Thank you all.
Yeah, cool. And if you have any questions, shoot them over to Gav or me.
Yep. Thank you all. Good night.